It's August 2020. On the line is PainChek. PainChek is an Australian-based company that develops pain assessment technologies. It is a smartphone-based medical device using AI to assess and score pain levels in real time and update medical records in the cloud. Both clinically and commercially validated, more than 700 aged care facilities are using PainChek across a combined 60,000 beds in Australia, while the company has also commenced international sales. We'll now hand over to Philip Daffas. Philip is a highly accomplished global business leader and people manager with an international career spanning more than 25 years. He has worked with leading blue chip healthcare corporates and novel technology startup companies, covering global senior business leadership positions in Europe, US, and Australia. Philip has been instrumental in building businesses, growing market share, and developing extensive high-level customer relationships in each sector. Over to you, Philip.
Thank you, Laura, and thank everyone for attending today. I appreciate your time. I'm pleased to be able to share with you today the past quarter's results, during which we've continued with significant growth of our business without, during this period, being able to visit one single aged care facility during the quarter. The PainChek digital technology has provided the platform to continue sales and implementation within aged care, and most importantly, provide a safe tool for carers and their residents. This digital healthcare platform also now provides the basis, we believe, for future global market expansion with a lower delivery cost. So in terms of the summary, as Laura's mentioned already, we are a software as a service business. We use AI as part of the method for detecting pain via video analysis. We have the product has 4 peer-reviewed publications in dementia and pain journals, and we have TGA and CE mark clearance, regulatory clearance. We're currently going through FDA de novo right now. The product is well protected. We have patents granted in the US, Japan, and Australia, and in fact, just this week, we haven't announced it fully yet, we just got clearance also in China. We now have more than 700 aged care facilities in Australia using our app or licensed for our app, covering more than 60,000 beds. It's 80 to 85% gross margins, and we're targeting to be at around 100,000 dementia beds, which is around 160,000 of the total beds by June next year. Our real goal, however, is to be international. We've got multiple new products planned, and we've already launched into the UK, Singapore, New Zealand, and Canada's also on the schedule for this calendar year. The goal of all this, of course, is to improve outcomes, improve efficiency, and we're very pleased to say that the government and other regulators are fully supportive of the PainChek technology. So what are we solving? Well, it's about pain, and pain assessment is difficult. But pain assessment is profoundly difficult for 2 extreme groups. On one hand, those living with dementia and with cognitive impairment who have lost their ability to reliably self-report their pain severity levels. And secondly, pre-verbal children, young kids who have not yet built those communication skills and not able to verbally express their pain. For these people, pain is often undetected or not detected, leading to misdiagnosis, incorrect treatments that can impact the quality of care that's delivered. So our sole mission is to give a voice to those people who cannot reliably verbalize their pain. We focus on providing this tool to carers who are looking after people either in aged care, in home care, or in hospitals. And the situation here is that carers need to make a decision. Can their resident with dementia or cognitively impaired, can they reliably communicate their pain? If they can't, then PainChek is a tool to address that point. To quantify this, there's about 400 million pre-verbal children at any one time in the world, and 50 million people living with dementia, growing to 75 million by 2025. So these are significantly large markets. When you look at the dementia situation, the pain assessment is really ready for disruption, and we have developed a tool that actually will address this need. If you look at pain assessment currently or in the past, they've been developed by manual pain assessment tools such as the Abbey Pain Scale, which is in the middle of your screen right now. And these tools, although very well documented and validated, they are manual, they're paper-based, They're typically not used at the point of care where pain assessment should be conducted. They're subject to user bias and therefore are rarely used by carers or nurses. What we have done with PainChek is we have intelligently automated the whole multi-dimensional pain assessment process, and we've introduced artificial intelligence to address the most complex part of the assessment, and that is the facial pain assessment part. The result is a fully mobile medical device that brings pain assessment to the point of care. It maintains the proven clinical practice while improving the clinical process for those nurses and carers. We're also really pleased to confirm that Dr. Jennifer Abbey, who developed the Abbey Pain Scale, has been working with us for the past 2 years to help this transition from the paper-based scales to the new digital formats. We're also pleased to confirm the $5 million of funding received from the federal government in December last year has now been extended. It's been extended to run to June 2021. That's a 7-month extension. And the reason for this is the government really wants to make sure that PainChek is rolled out throughout aged care during and after COVID-19 to improve the safety for residents and their carers for the long-term future. To date, we received around 3 million of the grant, and we're targeting 100,000 of those dementia beds by June next year. At that stage, we'll receive a full 5 million grant from the government. The other thing we've learned in the last 3 months, and this is something, a feature we inherently understood, but it's really come forward now, is that both residents and their carers are vulnerable during COVID-19. What we have done is we've successfully pivoted our business to providing using our remote digital capability where we can sell, install and train all aged care facilities during lockdown. I repeat, we've not visited one single aged care facility since April, but we continue to grow and manage our business. We've been using e-learning platforms and online training platforms to allow us to deliver PainChek into aged care and allow the carers to continue with their work without face-to-face interaction. We believe this core capability will be absolutely critically valuable for our international growth of the business. So if we look at the results in the past quarter, we've seen double-digit 20% growth in clients and facilities. We've increased our beds from 49,000 to 61,000 during that time, which is around 25% of the Australian market. And what that means is over $2.5 million in annualized contracted recurring revenue. Very, very strong growth during a very, very difficult period. I'll give you a bit of a breakdown of the granularity of that data. So you can see here on the left-hand side that pre the government grants, the company was selling into aged care and growing beds. Since the grant, we've actually accelerated that growth quite significantly. And as you can see, the 61,000 beds on the left. What those beds do, they cover all approved beds we contract to in aged care. And if you look on the right-hand side, those 61,000 beds equate to 2.66 million recurring revenue, which we will receive post the grant. What that does, if we achieve the 100,000 beds as planned, that would actually equate to a $7 million ARR, which would more than cover the company's total costs. So this is a really, really rapid and important program for the business. This is one case study example of how we were able to sell and roll out PainChek into aged care. On the left-hand side, you can see some of the stats that we've actually delivered in terms of training staff, to online workshops and e-learning platforms. On the right-hand side, you can see the actual statement from IRT, the Illawarra Residential Trust, who signed an agreement with us in March this year, and we're about to roll out the product by visiting the aged care facilities and conducting a series of seminars and training modules. Once COVID-19 hit, that was impossible. What happened, we both agreed to pivot to the video conferencing sessions, and we conducted 72 sessions across 21 resident aged care centres in a matter of 4 weeks, which had meant that we could fully install the technology. And as Alex Reed here, the project manager from IRT says that now it enables them to practice safe distancing whilst assessing and managing resident pain. So both clinically valid and very safe for both the carers and the residents. What that's also resulted to is that our cumulative number of assessments have grown. At the end of June, we're 135,000 assessments. In fact, end of July, we've actually got to 150,000 assessments. So there's a 50,000 assessment increase since March, which shows the rapid growth of the tool. We are seeing aged care facilities, once they've got used to using it and it's installed and effective into their system, we're seeing up to 10 assessments per month per dementia resident. If you look at our pricing, that equates to around 50 cents per test. And we continue to see negligible churn in terms of the utility of the product and the renewal of contracts. A comment here from Jim Murray from Allambie Heights. He says, as a non-contact digital healthcare solution supportive of social distancing, we've continued to use PainChek to safely assess our residents living with dementia and cognitive impairments. This is a sample of some of our aged care facilities. We've got now more than 200 clients, more than 700 facilities. There's a sample of around 20 of them. Our clients include large, mid-sized, small, and across all Australian states, both private and public. So we also show there we've got support from the Australian Government, Dementia Support Australia, and Alzheimer's Australia. So really good support, and the CEO of Pain Australia is actually writing a paper with us for publication very soon into one of the dementia journals. So if you look at the international expansion, the growth opportunity, we see that our target markets are large. We're already in Australia, we're already in the UK, and we're planning for the US. That's for the aged care facilities. That's a $300 million market opportunity. But the home care is where we see growth. And home care, we believe, is a significantly larger market. Most people with dementia live at home, and we have all types of residents with dementia. So there could be mild, moderate, severe. Many of them are living at home, and many need support from home. So we're approaching both markets, and we've just started with a pilot in home care. The pilot in home care is actually with two major providers, HCA, Healthcare Australia, and Novacare. The home care market in Australia is $2 billion federal funding. There's consumer directive care to allow people to make their own choices as to what they receive. And there's more than 100,000 consumers with home care packages. We're starting the pilots now. We should have results by the end of this quarter, and then we plan for a broader market entry in Australia towards the end of this year, and in calendar 2021 for the overseas markets. International expansion in the US is continuing. We are still going through our FDA de novo clearance process with the FDA. That will take until 2021, 2022 to complete. But in the meantime, we've put a submission into Canada Health, where we believe we'll receive clearance as a medical device, class 1 medical device, by the fourth quarter of this calendar year. And we're talking to two partners right now in terms of market entry into Canada. It's a 250,000 aged care bed market in aged care, and a very strong home care facility as well. So US and Canada is still ongoing strongly. For Phillips Healthcare, we have a collaboration which we started last year, and we've reported back on this in the past. Right today, we do have a collaborative clinical study that's ongoing with Philips. That's actually started with their headquarters in the Netherlands. And that's all around reducing the risk of a delirium within a hospital environment. And we're now re-engaging with Philips. We have re-engaged them now they've got COVID-19 under control globally. And we work with them now in terms of their integration opportunities, bringing our technology into their vital signs monitoring platform. We should have some more news on that in the next quarter. Finally, our kids product is undergoing clinical trials. The trial in Melbourne is actually on hold right now, the kids' hospital, due to obvious reasons. But we do have a parallel study going on in Europe, and that study is targeted to be completed by late this year, early next year. And we're still targeting TGA and CE mark clearance for the kids app by Q1 2021 calendar year. So we see two market opportunities here. One is in hospitals, which is obviously areas like neonatal care, special care baby units, maternity units. But more broadly, we see this being as a great opportunity for mums and dads at home to have a tool to assess pain for their children and provide, again, better home care. Finally, this is a last couple of slides. This is a summary on those different products and different markets and different timeframes. It's a sea of opportunities. These are all significantly large markets, and we're already present in 2 of them, both in Europe and in Australia, and also New Zealand, Singapore. Finally, I'd just like to finish up with my team. We have a really strong team. This is the management team. I often say the difference between a company, a technology company, is successful and not successful is actually not the product, but the team. This team is highly experienced in delivering and commercializing technology, and that, I believe, is actually a significant benefit and differentiation that PainChek has over many other technology companies who may have great tech, but may not have the commercialization experience. And I will just hold on this final slide, the highlights. I've covered this, so it's a enterprise technology, small sales force requirements, minimal churn, high sales rates to date, low operating costs, and a low customer acquisition model for the consumer. And on that point, I will hold it and go back to Laura for questions.
Thank you so much, Philip. It was good to get some more detail on the home care market in particular and the opportunity that exists there. We've got some questions on that note. If COVID-19 remains active in Victoria till October, will it delay PainChek's home care pilot rollout with Novacare and Healthcare? Or will the rollout happen regardless of COVID-19?
Well, I just mentioned earlier, the Melbourne Kids clinical study is on hold because for 2 reasons. One is there are very few children actually entering hospital and because of the COVID-19 situation. So what we've done is we pivoted to a study we're doing in Europe. That study is being conducted with our researchers based in the European markets. And this will be looking at doing video analysis of children in pain, using our technology and comparing it to the current standards. And the goal is potentially come out with a pain assessment tool for children still in time for finish the clinical studies this year and have it ready for the market in early 2021. That's the target right now. And this is something that we've actually switched to because of the difficulties with hospital access and hospital clinical studies.
I should just hover around that a little bit more. A question from the same person actually. For aged care customers that are hit with COVID-19, like Baptist Aged Care and Anglicare, how are they using PainChek in their facilities? Has there been an increase in assessments from COVID-19 affected customers compared to others?
Well, we've rolled out, of the 60,000 beds we've actually signed up, we've rolled out close to about 25 to 30,000 of them. And what we found, we've actually rolled out, in the last quarter, we implemented more than an 80% increase in beds. So actually we find our digital technology platform, our digital delivery platform is allowing us to actually train aged care facilities faster and in some ways better, because rather than going out to an aged care facility and trying to get all the nurses and carers together for 2 or 3 hours and train at one time, what we're doing is we're actually setting up a series of online training modules and getting smaller numbers trained up and then releasing it to them for usage. So the IRT example I showed during the presentation is an example of how we can really rapidly implement and train people using our digital e-learning platform and online capabilities.
A couple of questions have come through around operating costs and cash burn rates. So maybe, Philip, if you could just tell us your cash burn at the moment and when you're expecting PainChek to start turning a profit.
Right, so we've still got 6 million in cash in the bank. We started with 6 million in January, still got 6 million today because we've had 2 very strong quarters. Our burn rate is around $500,000 per annum. Per month, $500,000 per month. And if you look at our projections, if we can get to a $7 million ARR by this time next year, then that would basically cover our core costs as a business, and that's really about expansion. We are expanding. We're already in the UK. We're looking to get in Canada late this year and the US in 2022. So really, our core business model shows that we can rapidly get to a so-called break even for the Australian market, and then it's really about global expansion.
Yeah, so you do have big global expansion plans. We'd like to hear a little bit more about the competitive landscape. A couple of questions have come through on that actually. What competition do you face in the US and Canada in particular?
Well, that's really interesting because when we submitted to the FDA, they came back to us and told us we have to go through the de novo route because there is nothing like our technology in the US market. So there's nothing better than when the regulator tells you there's nothing like you. And we know from our we have strong patents. We know we've got excellent technology. We've got a lead on the marketplace. We've trademarked and protected a PainChek trademark around the world. And I think we've come in the aged care facilities, which is actually where technology doesn't normally start. Healthcare technology normally starts in hospitals and then goes out to places like aged care 10 or 15 years later. We've done the opposite. So I think we've got, there is nothing as we can see on the horizon that's competing with us. And I think even if we did, we've got plans to accelerate and to drive our lead, not just through patents, but drive our lead through our innovation and our development plans.
While you've been talking through that, someone wants to go a little bit deeper with the barriers to entry. What do you perceive as the specific barriers to entry from the likes of Cerner in the US or Chinese healthcare e-commerce companies?
Well, as I said before, really, I think, we have the core barriers to entry are IP and patents and trademarks. They're all in place. But also, I think it's innovation and speed to market and staying ahead of the curve. I've spent 30 odd years in medical device and diagnostics. I've done global roles in US, Australia, Europe, and it's really about staying ahead of the curve, and that's what we are doing as a business, as we plan to continue planning. So there's nothing better. And I think we've got a 3 to 4 year lead on anybody, even if it started doing something today.
So much for that, Philip. It was great to hear from you and PainChek.
Thank you very much, and Laura, thank you for your time.
Of course, thank you.
Thank you.